Hey friends, Lissa here for another video. In today's video, I want to talk about all of the things that raw vegans can do if they're looking for stuff for storage purposes during pandemics, quarantines, or any of that kind of stuff. So let's get into that in this video. This video is definitely not about being fearful or worried. I just wanted to make this video because I've had a lot of questions of people asking what we're doing and what they can do as raw vegans or as high raw vegans to basically protect themselves and make sure that they have enough food or storage or whatever during times if there's a quarantine in their area and they're not allowed to leave their house, if stores shut down or whatever. Not that I believe that it's going to get to that point. I mean, it could, but I don't think that it will. These are some things that we can do to just be prepared, really. So the first thing, obviously, would be water. You want to make sure that you have access to water. Grab some water if you want to keep that on hand. I'm hoping that we don't have to use it, but water is something that is really great to keep on hand. Fresh fruit and greens. Constantly be going out and grabbing your fresh fruit and greens for the day and eating a high amount of fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, there may be some times where some stuff isn't available, and that's totally okay. Don't panic. There's going to be other foods that are around. Farmers markets, local stuff, growing your own food is an option as well, but just go to the grocery store and grab what is available to you. Don't worry if you can't get certain things. It's not the end of the world. Just make sure that you're eating a lot of fresh, raw plant foods, because that is what's going to help boost your immune system and keep you healthy during this time. The second thing that you can grab is dried fruits and dates. You can get some tomatoes, and if you have a dehydrator, make a whole bunch of sun-dried tomatoes, and those will store for a while in a sealed container. So that will be a great option to include if you need to have that as backup. Dried fruit, go get some apples, some bananas, some pears, some mangoes, any kinds of foods that you can find. Slice them up, throw them in your dehydrator, and get some good dried fruit that doesn't have sulfites and all those other weird things in there for preservatives. And then just store them in airtight sealed containers. They should last quite a while, and use those again as backup. But sun-dried tomatoes are really great. You can do spices and herbs and spices like that as well if you're worried about that. Grabbing some bunches of cilantro and dill and parsley and drying them yourselves are great options too. You could also even go as far as making kale chips or veggie chips. You can even do broccoli chunks in the dehydrator, and all of those can store for a good amount of time if they are properly stored in sealed containers without air that's getting in or any moisture. Drying them fully is great. You could make raw crackers if you want, and all of these again are not staples of our diet. We don't believe that they should be consumed on a regular basis, but they are really good options for storage. If you want to have raw food long term, that is really good as well. Another thing that you could do is ferments. Fermented food lasts a really long time. So you could ferment your own stuff and keep it in the fridge and use that as another source of food. Sauerkraut, kimchi, any of that is really good. Pickles you could do as well without having to cook the pickles. There are options there too that you could do to have that as extra storage. Then there's always the Bliss Balls. Nuts and seeds last a really long time, so you could stock up on those as well, but make some Bliss Balls with some nut butters and all of that. Again, this is a high fat item, but it is good in times of need. Times of famine, times of scarcity. You can fall back on those if you need to, but you could also do things like grains, squash, sweet potatoes. You could stock up on those too if you weren't concerned about the fully raw thing, if the high fat bothers you. Definitely you could use that as a backup plan. We're not going to be doing that as a backup plan. I mean, again, who knows what's going to happen, but for the foreseeable future, we don't see ourselves going to that extreme. But it is an option for those of you out there who might need that. So the sweet potatoes, the squashes are probably going to be your best bet. And then grains like quinoa, millet, buckwheat, Those are really good ones as well because they're not actually grains. They're like pseudo grains, they're like seeds. So those are awesome additions as well. Then we have my most favorite storage raw vegan tip is dried lentils. You can get so many different varieties of dried lentils and you can sprout them with just a little bit of water and you'll have fresh, raw superfoods for you if you aren't able to get anything fresh from the grocery store. Again, not that that's going to happen. We're just talking here openly about options if you want, but getting bags of dried beans like lentils and chickpeas are going to be your two top best ones. And other seeds like broccoli, radish, mustard, these other little tiny seeds, alfalfa as well, chia even sprouts really nicely. You can make microgreens out of those, grow them yourself in the sunlight, and you won't have to worry about fresh food if there isn't any. You will be able to grow your little seeds. And on the seed note, it would probably be a good idea for you to stock up on actual seeds, things that you can grow yourself. This is more of a long-term way of prepping or getting ready for stuff, is to grow your own. Not all of us have pieces of land. Some of us only have small little boxes. Some of us don't have anything. So you can plant them on your balcony in little containers, whatever you need to do to grow lettuce, tomatoes, those kinds of things. Again, you're not going to be able to grow as much on a balcony for feeding yourself because we do eat a lot of calories as raw vegans, but it is a good supplement if things aren't available for a week or two. Again, this is more of a long-term thing. We should all be growing our own food anyways. It's the best way to eat. But again, if you can't, that's not a big deal. But saving seeds is really awesome. You can even save seeds from the food you get from the grocery store. Save the tomato seeds, save other things. You can even regrow celery stalks and lettuce bunches. You can just put the little butt of the celery stalk in some water and watch it regrow. So those are options too. If you're worried about not being able to get fresh stuff, there are options. And finally, learn to wild forage. Depending on where you live, again, not everyone's going to be able to do this, but if you live in an area where things are growing wild, like here in Southern Oregon, we have lots of blackberries. It's not blackberry season yet. However, this can be an option later in the future when we need some berries. If berries aren't available, I'm sure we can just go outside and grab some berries. Dandelion greens and other greens. Definitely learn to wild forage in your area if the climate allows. Not everyone, again, is going to be able to do this. If you're going into winter on the other side of the world, or if you're coming out of winter and things still haven't even blossomed yet, those are going to be things that you need to deal with. But this is a great option for those of us who can wild forage. Definitely take up that opportunity, because if you have things growing wild around you, why not take advantage of it? So hope this video finds you well, and I don't want people to worry at all. I just wanted to do this video because people were asking me some tips and tricks, and making a video is a lot easier than typing all of this out over and over and over again. So I can just send you guys the link and you can watch my perspective right here on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for all your love and support. If you want to get great recipes to boost your immune system, eating lots of raw food, lots of fiber, this is the link to my ebooks. There's over 300 raw vegan oil-free recipes in there, and you can get print versions in the description box below from Amazon if you're interested in that as well. So hope you guys liked it. Please like the video if you did, and find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Raw Food Romance, on Facebook, Lissa's Raw Food Romance, and on Snapchat, Lissa Raw Vegan. Until the next video, guys, stay strong and fruit on.